How y'all doing? It's Judge Lynn in my favorite spot, working on Big Boy and Little Lynn, Middle Mama. I ain't sure about, but it's all good, and I'll give you an update on both of those. But yesterday, first of all, I left the house, and I was proud of myself for having left the house. I'm doing more of that. Me and DoorDash, you know, and Instacart. I'm trying to move away from them. I'm trying to put them over there and put me outside, but it's just so just tempting. But anyway, I went out, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna be in a good mood. I'm not gonna worry about nothing. So I got in the car, went to the store, bought stuff for the dogs, some more balls for them to chase. They are heck on balls. They just tear them up. They just tear them up. So I was riding behind a guy. I don't know if it was a guy or not, but it was a person. And then there was another person, and then there were three little persons in the back. And we were driving down a street that has those, speed bumps on them. Dude, the speed limit was 30. Dude was doing 10 miles an hour before the speed bumps, and he would do like 2 miles an hour over the speed bumps. And there's like a good mile of me, him, and speed bumps in front of us. And I was like, good. And I think, they couldn't do all it. There was a time where I would have drove around and this and that and probably spent more time, but I'm impatient. So I feel like so the new Lynn, the 65-year-old woman in me, said, nah, we just gonna drive 10 miles an hour. We're gonna slow down to 5 when we have to. And we're gonna keep it moving till you get where you're going. But in the back of my mind, I was fussing at these people. What is your problem? Can't you drive? It's not that complicated. It's Sunday morning. What seems to be the issue? And then he sped up and didn't see one of he went sped up to his 10 miles, but he didn't go back down to the 5 because I guess he missed seeing this thing. And in addition, his car was kind of like going a little, and then a little this, and I was like, well, is he drunk? And then he took that bump at 10 miles an hour instead of his usual 5, and everybody in the back seat, apparently who were not belted in, flew up to the top and back down. He had no shock absorbers. His shocks were bad. His cohort was probably jacked up, and he was doing the best he can, probably taking his family to church or something, and I'm behind him talking about him like a dog in my nice little Volvo, 2021 or 22 Volvo with 5,000 miles on it, and had an attitude. And I said, everybody, that was me filling in. I had 10 cents worth of information, filling in with a 90 cents of opinion. So I got $1 worth of information out of 10 cents of opinion. I got a 90 cents worth of wrong out of the whole thing, and irritated myself in the process. You know what I mean? So my question to you is, and to myself is, how are my shock absorbers? Because you need shock absorbers in this day and time. I'm supposed to be painting. I need to do the indoor trim in burnt sienna. And I meant to do that while I was talking to you, but now I got all agitated and whatnot. So maybe I'm not agitated, but I just got all into the story. But anyway, I don't know where I was, right? Oh yeah, how are you? You always have. My shock absorbers, factory installed, won't weren't worth a thing. I mean, had I been a car, I would have been recalled at 3 months because I had no shock absorbers. My mother said I was the worst baby ever. I would only tolerate her. I screamed and hollered all the time. She said she had a friend come over one day, and my hair was just, whew. I was born with a head full of hair, and it just kept growing, and it was just wild. And I was, I don't know, 10 months old or something. And a lady came over, and my hair was unkempt. It just simply wasn't combed correctly. It looked like, my mother just didn't care. So a friend of hers, with an attitude, said, you need to take better care of that baby's hair. Hi, Dak. How you doing? What's happening? You want to say hi to the people? Well, I know. You want to play ball. We've been playing more ball because I think Zora's getting overweight. But Zora won't go for it as much because Decker's so much faster. So I have to two-ball it in different directions in order to get the right side of Decker. There's always a lot of extra work involved. But anyway, I was talking about my shock absorber. Just terrible. So she handed me to her friend and a brush. Said, go to it. She said after a good 5 minutes, she says, I see what you mean. I would cut up all the time. Somebody looked me in, like look in the bassinet, and I would just scream. I had no shock absorbers. Just none. My amygdala was just exposed to the amygdala. And I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but amygdala is this almond-sized thing in your brain. Let me call my sister and see. And if I have to change it later, I will. But it's that little walnut-sized thing in the middle of your brain. It's like the control center of your limbic system, and it's always scanning the horizon for danger. And my amygdala is a bad chick. She sees everything as a problem. And she told me everything was a problem. And that's why I had no shock absorbers. So my mother's job was to create some shock absorbers that worked. And she spent a whole lot. That's why I wrote my book, My Mother's Rules, because I saw how she constructed me. Now, I ain't got no great shock absorbers, but I got some. I had a whole new badass chassis for 34 years that absorbed a whole lot of the road for me. The peace that man brought me. And I don't have it no more. And I'm trying to, I ain't gonna get into that, because that's a whole thing. And I didn't mean for this to be sad. So, but anyway, I got to build a whole new set of shock absorbers. And I think part of the problem that we have, I don't know. I've been reading a couple of books on articles. I'm trying to find, in these articles, they have some there are not a lot of old books out about it because it's a current phenomenon, but I'm trying to collect what I can to find some books but I'm doing articles and listen to studies on the epidemic of loneliness that's not only happening in this country, but everywhere else. And I think what it has done, it has eroded our shock absorbers. So let me just tell you why. See, technology happened. And you can get techno-nasty without any consequences. You can scream and holler at somebody that you'd be scared to scream and holler. So all of that kind of separated us. Then it made it easy to make these tangential things. And then we monetized negativity. The arguments. You should see. I mean, guys used to have big TV shows are on Twitter now with a show of the two of them arguing. And there's rage bait and all this kind of stuff. Then COVID happened. And we were all stuck inside. And when you go outside, I was talking to a psychiatrist friend of mine, and we were talking about people who are isolated and who are a little left of center. You know, if you're a little left of center, you have some ideas, a couple of wobbly gears, as do I. And if you stay alone too long, if you go out and you are in the world and you have people, it requires you to regulate your wobble. You know what I mean? Because you have people around, you count, you see what's going on. But if you're at home alone with your wobble, it starts to uncontrollably because you don't have input to say, oh, you're going too far over here. Like sometimes I'd be doing something and people, even my French teacher, she was sitting right there and she said, Lynn, all my life there's have been, like once a week, someone would say, Lynn, because, and that would say, oh, now it doesn't mean I'm wrong or I say anything, but I'm a little left of normal right here. So I have to assess, is this where I want to be? Have I gone left because of some problem, or have I gone left because I'm creative and I see something that you don't see? But you have to be able, you can't just say, I don't take anybody. I look and listen to everybody's opinion. I don't believe nobody, but I study it. I think about it. 97, 2, 3, just, ask yourself. You want to see Big Boy? I got some questions to answer, I think. But anyway, here. Show you Big Boy. Now, that's all the madness. Y'all just have to leave me alone about that. Now, look, Big Boy is now getting... Hey! Big Boy is now getting siding. I mean, that's not siding. What is this called? Shingles. Already has siding. I have some artistic things going on here. Not very artistic. And then down here, I'm putting travertine. It's not real travertine, but I'm calling it travertine tile in a pattern. I'm trying to figure out what pattern I really want before I finish it. So that's where we are. And then there was one, wait a minute. Yeah. So when we spent all that time alone, we lost our ability to cope and to tolerate agitations and all this kind of stuff. Sometimes I need to go outside and just get, and irritation, because if you get used to just being at home and so everything's your way, we get out, we don't know how to act. We just don't know how to act. Someone said, and I thought this was an interesting question, whether people think they need to be in a relationship to be happy. And I think that that's true a lot, in that we talk about it a lot, Back in the day, it was soap operas. Everybody was interested. You followed your people like you knew them. Edge of night, guiding light, as the world turns, the bold and the beautiful, that came later on, and all this kind of stuff. So people, and in those things, it wasn't about business. It was all about who's in love with whom. John would leave work at any time to talk to Susie about their relationship. There was Peyton Place before that. We were all involved in that. And love is fun, and love is fantastic. You listen to the radio, that's what most of the stuff. Now, back in my day, today ain't that. That's not the case as much. I don't believe. But I don't listen to much that has happened after 1980, so I don't know. But and I found that in response to my widowhood, people are like, you need to get, for what? I mean, love is wonderful. And if you're in love and happy, that's cool. But I don't want to work at nothing like that no more. I'm going to work at some things, but I don't want to work at that. And that, one guy said to me, that's such a waste. And I don't know, I think I have value beyond what I give any individual due. I really do. Can I show you something? Oh, you know how old I am. No. You know how frugal I am. This has been my favorite shirt for the last 15 years. I had a companion pair of pants, well, 15 years old too. I used to wear them every Thanksgiving. Every very Thanksgiving. And then I put them in the wash, wear them the next day, because they were my working clothes. Because to me, Thanksgiving was, this was a job. And I had to give up those pants because my thighs rubbed holes in the end. You know how that go. When you're a little chunkier than you used to be. But now look, I had this on yesterday. And the fabric itself was so fatigued, it just said goodbye. Girlfriend popped right out. Good thing I was at home. But it hurts my feelings to get rid of this shirt because I really loved it. I'll throw it at you. What do you want to do? Oh, that makes you want me to bring you the ball. But anyway, that's me. But I got a pair of pants that are 40 years old, that are sharp and cool, and I'll show them to you one day. Just great. I bought 3 pairs. My mother and I bought 4 pairs. She had a pair, then we bought 3 pairs because she wanted another pair and I wanted 2. I got 1 left in great shape. Take it to the dry cleaners. 40 years old, and they still in style. I rarely get anything that right. Well, I didn't get it that right. I took it from my mother. That's all my best stuff comes from my mother. Listen. Get out there and act like you got some sense, please. We're struggling, Let your kindnesses lead you. Let your courtesies carry you. And keep your cool about you. I mean, gather cool as much as you can. And if you're out somewhere and you see someone has lost their cool, let them borrow some of yours. We're short on cool, which makes us short temper, which shortens our peace. Man, will shorten our existence if we don't get our act together. I'm just saying.